What's the water resistance on that camera?
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? All right. This is good.
Yeah, it seemed like such a good idea and concept. Go sit by the pool.
I mean, it seemed like a good idea to sit next to the pool. There's people here at the pool.
There are people.
They're staring at us.
Yeah.
It's 50-50 whether or not they speak English.
Well, I mean, like, what's weirder, guys podcasting by the pool or people jumping in with their street clothes on?
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a, it's a pot kettle situation. So there's nothing really to be ashamed about.
Yeah, well, I have very little shame when it comes to shameless, like, being in public.
I think I used to have a lot of it. And
Really?
It's just kind of been, like, slowly ebbed out of me by, like, working in restaurants.
Interesting.
I mean, so much of, like, waiting tables is, like, debasing yourself and putting, like, coasters under, like, wobbly tables and, like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people have, like, no self-awareness when they talk to you.
At restaurants or just in general?
I think in general, but especially at restaurants. Like, I remember, like, one time a lady was telling me about her vacation to Italy. It's like, yeah, we just got back from Italy, and
She
this
just kept
food,
going.
it's like, it really just reminds us of, like, it was an Italian-ish restaurant, so it was like, this food,
Yeah.
it's just like what we were having in, like, out in, like, Naples, and
Yeah.
we went to Rome, we went to Venice, we went all around the country, and she's like telling me about her big vacation in Italy, and it's like, and then we went to Sicily, and
Oh, God.
yeah.
And then the Vatican.
Yeah, it's just like all this.
And we met the Pope.
Yeah, it's like, and then we went to the island of Capri, and
Oh,
like she's
God.
describing this fantastical vacation. She's like, "Oh my God, you should like go to Italy." And I was like, "Do you see what I do for a living?"
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Okay, I wondered where
yeah.
this is going. Yeah, the idea of like...
She's like selling me on Italy, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
lady, you didn't even tip 20%. How the fuck am I supposed to get to Italy? People do shit like that. Like my
No,
girl.
it's very funny. You're absolutely right. The idea of like... Because I've met people that are like that have just come from wealth or like...
Yeah.
Because I've never traveled to Europe ever. And I've had so many people be like, dude, you should just go to Europe. And
It's
I'm like...
yeah, I'm poor. I can't do that.
Like, on what money? Unless a comedy club in Germany wants to pay me $3,000, I'm not going out to Europe.
Yeah, and they ain't got that kind of money. Also, you don't want to do comedy in Germany. They're like so far behind.
Is that for real? Because I've heard people say that as like a stereotype.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know like the conventions of like what's funny in the German language, but at least in terms of like English being a second or tertiary third like language
Yeah.
of theirs, the things that are working like
Interesting.
are so low hanging fruit base level like set up punchlines of like, oh, like I was having.
I get this.
Yeah, like you could like set up like a misdirect where like the punchline is like, oh, like I was sucking dick for Adderall, It's like I just don't know why my dad won't give me my prescription. Like that was like a joke I wrote when I was like 16. That
Yeah.
would crush there. They'd be like, oh, he
They
blew
would
his
love that.
father. He sucked his father's dick.
Dude, they would love me then if they love hacks.
Like I saw an Indian guy go up and like he was just talking about like I am so smelly. It's a miracle any of you are in the room with me right now. And they're just like, oh, Indian people are smelly, and it's just like Jesus Christ, these guys are fucking dum dums.
There's this comic in Chicago who was like paraded around as like one of the best comics.
Yeah.
And like I think for the longest time I was like, wow, this guy truly is one of the greats. And then like right before I left Chicago, I saw his act, and it was a lot of like that.
A lot of
Like,
that. Well, that
low-hanging
kills on the
fruit.
international level, buddy.
Like stereotypes, and I was just like, oh, this guy's like, you have that realization that
Yeah.
this guy who like you once thought was like a god is like, you're like, oh no, your act is like actually like really easy, simple writing of just like basic,
Yeah, it's math comedy. It's like joke math,
yeah.
which is boring.
Well, I was telling someone the other day of like, I really like Jimmy Carr, not because I think Jimmy Carr writes like great original new premises, just like the economy and like how the rhythm of like how quick he does it is.
Well, it's all
fun.
like tonal. That's all British country comedy is.
Yeah.
It's like it's very like tonality shifts. That's why like L.A. is like
British country is the worst genre of music.
genre. Oh, my fucking teeth fell out because my mother is my cousin.
I drive my pickup truck that goes by BPA European gas guzzling
But the church
standards.
is gay. That's the difference with British countries. We hate Christianity because our country has been dissolved and become an ethnic melting pot.
Yeah, we've been disenfranchised by the Judeo-Christian belief system.
Yeah. pretty much. And
But I do
also,
believe in atheism
unmitigated
deeply.
immigration has destroyed our culture and denigrated it into being a melting pot culture where there's no distinct identities besides like maybe Punjabi Indian or like Jamaican Caribbean. I mean, in London, all the guys are fucking Caribbean. They're all roadman rude boys walking around. Everyone's top boy.
Oh,
Everyone's
brother.
getting top from all the boys.
Oh, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Because the church, that's what they do. They get top from the boys. They're the original top boys. That's what I'm saying. They would kill.
I'd kill. You're murdering, dude. You're
Yeah.
murdering. You're repping.
Oh,
I
trans people are kind of gay. They're
I'm
not
trying to think of
real.
like
Like that's like Russell Brand is like the epitome of British comedy to
trans
me.
people are gonna get. Russell Brand is crazy, dude. I didn't realize how far off the deep end he was until like 2 months ago. I stumbled across his YouTube and I was like, oh, he's like really political.
Yeah, when you're trying to convince yourself you're not a pedophile, you know, that
Yeah.
usually happens.
That is kind of the weird thing.
I mean, my dad loves him. He's really just, my dad's like a libertarian.
Oh, I love
guy,
that.
So
We
like,
love the libs, libertarians. That is.
Yeah. So he's just like listening to like podcasts like Triggered Nometry and shit like that, like shit with like the gayest names.
That's so funny.
And yeah, he like loves. He's like, yeah, he's really taking it to like the woke culture. I'm like, you're like, my dad's like
Oh, God.
like a rich guy that like just lives.
He's fine.
He's fine. Like he has nothing to fear. Like
Yeah.
if anybody's gonna take anything that he has, it's the banks from loan loan. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. It's okay.
No, you're good. We're living life, dude.
But yeah, I mean, like my dad's like a libertarian style guy, so it's like he doesn't even give his family money. Like I'm like poor.
Yeah.
Like because like
Well, dude.
he has like Shaqonomics in his head. He's like, no, this is my money.
Well,
What do you mean?
would've-
What do you mean we're rich? I'm rich.
Oh yeah. It's like no, dude.
You
Shaq has $400 million. He's not giving his kids millions of dollars, but he is giving them hundreds of thousands worth of assets.
Oh yeah, no. If I could even get that, no. I got like
That'd
a
be
line
huge.
cooking job
That's nice.
that I had to reapply to anytime I messed up.
Break it down. So you've been a line cook for a minute. We were talking about this earlier
I went dish pit, 14 to 16 dish pit.
Dish Pit sounds like a sick band name.
16 to 22 line cook, 22 to 26 waiter bartender.
Waiter bartender.
Yeah.
What's a?
And I also like did hosting and stuff like that and like bussing tables like on like busy nights
Nice.
when
There's money to be made.
no, just when like they didn't have like a high school girl to like see people.
That's very funny. That is who does that job.
But they didn't like me up front because I had like very line cook energy, so I'd like
Yeah.
be like making inappropriate jokes with the customers.
What were you saying? Like, what were you just going too far? Do you have any like things you would do like when you're seating people, like any lines? Because I feel like you'd fall in jobs like that to like a script so often. This might be a little hard.
Yeah.
You went blank as if you've suppressed the memories, and I get that.
I'm like trying to remember things I did. Like I don't really remember things I said to customers. I would just like, you know, you can do the hack lines of like, oh, you like pick up a cleaned plate like where they ate everything. You're like, oh, I guess you hated it, you know, or whatever.
That shit's so cheesy.
Yeah, like I remember sometimes you drop food because you would be given the wrong table number. Like
Yeah.
I was a big like, all right, like I would drop it and they'd be like, oh, that's not us. And then like I'd be like, okay, is this you guys? And they'd be like, no. And then I'd have their food.
Yeah.
And I'd walk towards them like, oh, finally, it's us. And I'd be like, psych. And then I'd like walk away and be like, I'm just kidding, guys. Here's your food.
Stupid.
And other front of the house people didn't like that.
Really? You don't like those bits?
They
That's a
don't like
great
bits.
bit. The old psych. Hey, make them really appreciate it.
I remember this was like a really bad one.
Yeah.
And I got, if I didn't work for my dad, that's the one I think nepotistic advantage I got. It's like, yeah, I had the shittiest job in like the restaurant,
Yeah.
but I still couldn't get fired for it, even when I did like outrageous things.
Did
So-
your dad own the restaurant?
Yeah, he owned the restaurant.
Oh, okay. What kind of food?
But like, it's like new American food, like just like, you know, mix of
Gotcha.
everything. Like they do like Spanish dishes, French dishes, you know,
yeah.
like just the melting pot style food of like.
I got that.
But yeah, like it was like a shitty job because like he would incentivize the chef to like give me extra. They called it Wolfgang work. So like,
Oh,
we had like
really?
a charcoal oven, and like every week we get like 2 tons of charcoal delivered, and I had to carry it like in the hot sun by myself inside.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
To, like
That-
scrub the fryers and like.
It's like the cliche of like if your high school dad's the coach, they always push you harder. It was
I
like that,
s-
but for like line cook work.
No, I just don't think he. I maybe he was like on some like Mamba mentality type shit, but that's
Yeah.
just girl brain. So I mean, like, Kobe Bryant was a girl. Like every story I hear about him is like, yeah, he like pushed his best friend and teammate Pau Gasol the first play of the U.S. like
Yeah.
versus Spain Olympic basketball game in 2008.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna show him it ain't like that out here. We're playing to win. I'm like, that's like girl shit. Like that's why it confuses all the other players. Like I ain't never seen a brother do that before.
I've never heard the term girl brain, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I get Like just like the like almost for show.
I mean, yeah, like you would get jealous, like you got jealous on the Team USA like last in the 2000. I think it was like 16 Olympics when he played. Coach K for Duke was the coach for the U.S. basketball team, and he was getting jealous that JJ Redick was getting like praise because JJ was a Duke guy. He's like,
yeah, he was going crazy too.
Yeah, he was like shoving him and elbowing him during plays, like hard fouling this like
Really?
white boy. Yeah, he like hated, which is funny that Redick's the coach of the Lakers now.
That is funny. Yeah, really just destroying the mentality. Yeah, he kind of was petty. I mean, no one talks about that, like puts it in that lens, but a lot of athletes are just like truly like childish divas.
Yeah,
but we praise them.
Yeah, like oh no, there's a truck starting, but
It's okay. These mics are pretty good at like keeping out noise.
No, but like you like whenever they get in arguments and stuff, like all the top like NBA All-Stars, like Kobe, like yelling at he was yelling at fucking whoever the fuck in a play. I think he was yelling at Klay Thompson or something.
So funny.
Or no, Klay was yelling at Devin Booker, but like I've also seen Kobe do this because they all do it.
Yeah.
Where they'll be like, "Man, you suck, you an old man." It's like, whatever. I got 5 rings though. It's like you're talking about rings like a fucking girl.
Oh God. Yeah.
You're obsessed with jewelry. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
you
talking about jewelry.
Brain. Yeah. All you care about is getting a ring. You sound like a girl right now. That's all they.
You talk about jewelry.
When am I gonna get a ring? It's just like you're a fucking girl.
What is this,
dude.
Kobe Bryant or your girlfriend?
And I don't care if you can like you'll like say that to like I was trying to explain it to like this guy, Michael, who's like a black guy. He's like, yeah, but he jumped over an Aston Martin though. I'm like, dude, he could fucking jump over my ass and pull my dick out of my mouth and dunk on me. I still don't care. That's girl brain. I have integrity when it comes to this stuff. Like, dude.
What are you looking at your phone at?
I was looking at like.
I'm trying to pull up Kobe highlights. I feel like you are.
No, I'm like there's a story. I was trying to remember his name. He was like, his name's like Shane something.
Shane Smallwood. It's interesting. But no, the idea of
Shane Battier, that's who it was. I was trying to remember. Shane Battier had this great story about, or like, yeah, he did it on a podcast, but I remember reading about this in Mamba Mentality. This is when I realized Mamba Mentality is just girl brain. So Shane Battier, he was like a shooting guard, I think, too, for the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
And his like strategy for like dealing with Kobe was like, all right, I'm not gonna say I'm a Kobe stopper, because every time somebody said they were a Kobe stopper, Kobe would like get like girl mad and be like, oh, I'm gonna go off on them.
Oh, I'll show you.
I'll show you. And then he would have like like a next level game of basketball against that person,
just
and
like throwing a fit.
Because Kobe was one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
By the way, let's not. This is not.
Yeah, no, he was just plagued with
Kobe
mental
slander.
illness. Doesn't make you a bad person, but he was plagued with girl brain. And or BPD. He definitely had fucking BPD.
Mental illness doesn't make you a bad person. Should go on a shirt.
Yeah, dude. Like, shoving your best friends because they're now on a different team for like 3 months out of the year of a 4-year game cycle.
Yeah.
Just because that's girl shit, dude.
Yeah, that's petty.
That's petty.
It's also like it wasn't their idea most of the time, at least.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm doing this for $20 million extra.
Yeah, when rings and like championships are on the line, the NBA becomes like Real Housewives. Like
it
really quick.
Does.
But like Shane Battier was like, all right, I'm gonna just like not say I'm a Kobe stopper, and I'm just gonna be in interviews like, Kobe's a great player, and like I do get scared, when I like play him, and I have nothing but respect for the guy. And then in his memoir, Kobe details that. It's like, and when I saw Shane Battier do that, I realized it was false humility, so I attacked him harder. And it's just like
the you can't win, like the petty, like they won't let you win.
No, it's girl
ridiculous.
logic, dude. Like he had Latina brain. Like he was like fucking. He like got mad at like Shane Battier for just trying to be humble and like stay out of his way.
Presentingly nice.
Not
make a headline.
And yeah, it was false humility, but like. It's just
funny.
Such like a girl thing to be like, he doesn't mean that. He's faking it.
You can't win.
You didn't mean it when you said it.
Dude, that's so funny. It
wasn't what you said. It was the way you said it.
I don't think I'll ever turn this into a joke, but I recently had this happen where a girl texted me at like 2 a.m., like last Saturday, right?
Yeah. And
she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm out at shows still.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, I'm just in my bed by myself right now. She texted me that. And then she sends a photo of like her legs in bed. And I was just like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I know I don't really know you that well. I don't really want to hook up or do anything like that. I'm sorry. And then she was like, no, why would you even think I wanted to do that? Oh my gosh, you totally misread the situation. I was like, no, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. No. I get to reject you here. I get to reject you here. Mm-hmm. Let me say sorry. And then they wouldn't even let me reject them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That made me so mad. I was like, no. You were propositioning me.
Yeah,
I get
that's
to
where you just gotta
reject
go.
you.
Like whatever you say.
I get to reject you. Let me say no.
Yeah, hold
I hated
on.
that.
We're
They
getting-
just did
we're
it to
speaking-
deprive me.
We're getting the wife is calling. We're getting a FaceTime call. Hey, what's going on? You're on the podcast. What's up?
I'm running. I need to leave, and none of my friends are answering. I need to know if I look like a lesbian wrestler.
Put her up to the mic.
You do not look like a lesbian wrestler. You look beautiful.
No, but like, if I do, this is like a one-time pass. This isn't a trap. Like, if I look really bad in this, like, you just need to tell me so I can.
Okay, you're running late and you look fine. You look great, actually. You look better than you've ever looked. I'm serious though. You do look good. I
I have chubby legs, and this is like.
No, yeah, you don't have chubby legs. You look great. Like you'll probably get catcalled by at least one or two Dominican guys walking. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry.
I love you. Yeah, no, I love you. Bye. See what I mean, folks? There might have been some haters earlier in the podcast being like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just going off generalizations.
Did you schedule that phone call?
No, that wasn't planned. That's just God, dude. That's Allah. That's Allah.
That in. I'm sorry, I'm keeping that in. She won't see the pod.
Don't tag me in any of these clips.
I won't
'cause she'll
tag you in
see
that clip.
and I will. That
I will
be
not
like.
tag you in that clip. I won't
I
post
might
that
not
as a
suffer
clip.
for it right now, but 2 years later, that will get brought up to something completely
so
irrelevant.
funny.
I'll be like,
It's okay.
trying
this
to find my
podcast-
keys. It's like, oh no, it's okay. Take all the time to find your keys. You know, I'm patient with you, not like you when you can't even stop podcasting for a second when I have to FaceTime you. It's like, but like that's like it's okay. She's a beautiful, kind lady that understands me.
She is.
Like, because it's the thing. The secret of the world is that like women are
What is the
crazy.
secret of the world?
Women are crazy and men are retarded. Guys are really retarded. Guys retard. And it's like a
No,
cyclical,
you're right. I agree with.
It's a
I couldn't
cyclical
agree
thing.
more.
Women are crazy because guys are so retarded and they have to put up with it, and they have to like put up with guys
Yeah.
not putting the level of attention to detail and effort into things that they do.
Yeah.
And that drives them crazy. But women are also in turn so crazy, we shut our brains off and retard ourselves so we don't have to like
Yeah.
deal with it
Wow.
on a day-to-day basis. We like feed into each other's strengths and our weaknesses. We're all we've got, folks.
That's so powerful.
I mean, like, girls have mental power. If anybody's gonna like unlock telekinesis and like,
Yeah.
psychokinesis,
Guys don't want to read. I don't think. I think this is a gendered thing. The ability to read minds, I think, is something women would want more than guys. I don't think guys care enough for that, or I don't think like, if it were to be like the ability to fly or read minds,
Well, telekinesis is lifting objects, and I think psychokinesis is reading minds.
Okay, psychokinesis. I think of psychokinesis. Then the ability to read minds. I don't think a guy would want that. I think women would.
They would.
I don't want that. I wouldn't want to read people.
I knew that bitch hated me. I knew it.
I knew
I
it.
knew she was a fake bitch.
I knew it.
But the thing is, they don't even
they
need
do-
it.
but they all do that
don't
to
even
each
need
other,
it. They
though.
know like what they're doing. They play this Machiavellian game that's so beautiful. Like, I mean, I think this has been said before, but like what girls can do with just Instagram alone, like they've weaponized Instagram
It's
into
crazy.
into being like shadow warfare. Like they wage a cold war over Instagram. Like, all right, let's go to Aruba and we're not going to invite Jessica, and then we're going to post so many pictures,
photos.
and
this
Jessica's
is-
going to
this is
see
to
it,
spite
and
her
it's
for a
going to
thing she said.
destroy Jessica. It's going to destroy
It's
her.
gonna destroy her. No, and they it's crazy because like this sounds like a co-opted thing, but like I was at a Super Bowl party this year, and it was all girls and like two other guys, and the two other guys were like pushover simping. I left at halftime. It was so bad, but
Yeah.
the way they were talking about each other and like women who weren't in the room, and like the way
I
they're
know.
like, should we post that we're all here? And they're like, well, so and so will see it, and they're like.
And girls have
Maybe
like,
it's good so and so sees it, and they're like, "Well, wait until after the game, so she can't invite herself over because she's gonna invite herself over." And I was just like, "Oh, they are like you're as mean as I think you are."
girls have like what they've done with like smartphone technology and Instagram. Like there's a reason why like
They're like, "Wait,
the
wait
psyop
until post
departments
after
of
the
the
game."
United States military like look to girls and they study girls like social media.
Is this a real thing?
This
I feel
is
like
a real
you're
thing.
making this up.
No, it's why
No,
they
dude.
use like girls in military propaganda. It'll be like a girl going like with
Yeah,
like
yeah.
her boobs out in like an army Humvee wearing camo. That
I
isn't
have
even like
seen
up
that.
to issue uniform.
Dude, they did it on TikTok.
just to
That's
get guys
a
to
thing.
be like, "Whoa, man, I'm fucking gonna own this, bro."
I gotta do this, man.
and then it's like, what the hell? Everybody in the military is fucking a black. It's like, I'm just bunking with a bunch of buff black guys. There's no barracks bunnies here.
That's so funny.
There's
No, literally, did you see that though? Like the TikTok psyops that they were doing?
Yeah, because there's like
Of,
not
like-
as many women. There's women in the military, but like they all get run through because there's just so much more of a surplus of men. And like,
Oh yeah. Well, dude, no, there's like a bunch of TikToks. There's like
And
4 or
they get
5 TikToks
slutted out,
of
dude.
just gorgeous women
yeah,
being like, "Oopsie, I'm the barracks bunny," and it was like these like I remember like seeing the pages and everyone in the comments was like, "This is a psyop," because the U.S. military clearly was just hiring these gorgeous women to go and like make these TikToks and be like, "I'm hooking up with all these gorgeous military men in whatever foreign country. You should come over here too." And it was just like, it was clearly like they were clearly paid actors.
yeah. You're about to get roped into like a 2-year-long contract. That's just a sausage. Yeah, you're just a
Yeah, and
2 year.
there's
It's
just
just
not that
it's
lady's
a
not
contract for a
actually-
2-year sausage party.
Yeah. No, but
But
they
it
were
is
like making
cool
these
because
TikToks
you,
of like
you do
women
hang out
being
with some of
like-
the most hilarious guys. Like from what I've garnered, I've never been in the
You've
military,
never done
but
military
like,
time?
but all my like
You
friends
kind of
have
radiate
served.
like grizzled military energy. You seem
I think that's because
jaded.
like who you spend your time around, and then also like part of being a line
Yeah.
cook is deluding yourself into thinking it's the same as the military.
That is very line cook-esque.
Where you're like, yeah, look at all those civilians out there. They don't fucking.
They
have
don't
any-
know me.
They don't know what goes on behind the steel door curtain.
You did this
of the
other day?
kitchen.
I think it's so funny. The way line cooks talk about smoking is like, so you did it the other day, and I just got it. Like every line cook I know is like, oh, that smoke is so good.
They talk about it
after-"
like it's a diver's bell, like they're deep
Yeah.
at the bottom of the ocean and they just hit like a pocket of oxygen.
Yeah. No, literally though.
It's like
Like,
it's literally killing you faster.
kind of. They're like,
Like it's ruining your like
the
blood.
life-saving smoke after unparalleled work that the likes of man have never seen. I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah, no, like it's ruining your blood pressure and like causing blood clots, which are exacerbated by how like still you stand because you're at your station.
Yeah.
You know, you're usually on a French brigade where you're doing like you're either the saucier or like you're on.
Explain what a French brigade is.
It's basically just this segregation of different tasks in the kitchen. Like each person has a designated task. I forget what they all are, but like they talk about it in the Bear where it's like you
Yeah.
have different people. Like you have a person on expo, which is usually like the head chef. The head chef is ideally not cooking. They do all the menu design and they
Yeah.
help with prep in the beginning of the day,
Mhm.
but they're really just like leading the line. And then the sous chef is like assisting and facilitating with that as well, usually on a station. And then you have your lead line cook that's like
Yeah.
gives you all the updates on like basically it's like hard to explain because I've been out of it for a little while, but
Okay. No, but the
like you basically
line cooks are the
you
one that
have
are
one
actually doing
designated
the work.
repetitive job. You're doing like
yeah.
a dish isn't made by one chef.
Yes.
Like parts of it are assembled together
Yeah.
typically like by different people. Sometimes it is like
Yeah.
when I worked it for my dad, I was on grill, so I would do like flatbread pizzas. I would do
Whatever came through the grill, you would.
I would
do.
finish the burgers and the steaks that go into the oven, but
Okay.
like those would be seared by the person that was on grill. Like there was
Yeah.
like somebody that would sear it and then they would hand me the pan, put it in the oven. I would be my job to pull it and then to like assemble the burger and like heat the buns in the oven. And,
Gotcha.
and then I moved up to like doing grill, and then I was like doing searing the burgers, but I was
Yeah.
also doing scallops, doing like it's just a bunch of boring shit.
Did
but,
you have
like,
a favorite thing to do in the kitchen?
I loved the
Especially
scallop
working
dish
for your dad?
because the I loved that and charcuterie boards because like you could get really pretty with the presentation. I would get yelled at because I'd be doing too much.
Oh, really?
I would make it look really good, but it's like we're gonna charge $30. I'm like slow by
Yeah.
like industry standards,
Gotcha.
but like I am very diligent. Like that guy that like I'm like the guy that was bartending for us over at like the
at a 7 Grand.
7
An
Grand,
amazing
yeah.
bar.
It's a
on-
great
right
whiskey
off
bar.
6th Street on 7th Street.
like yeah I'll do the garnish. I'll make sure that the ice is like
Everything
perfect.
looked so good. Every
It was.
drink he
And
poured
the,
us
the
looked
price
amazing.
point was amazing. It was like $12 for that drink. That would have
Yeah.
been like a $18 to $22 drink in New York City.
Really? I thought it was a beautiful. Everything he made, I thought was like really, really just beautifully done.
Yeah, no, he was bartending at a super high level, but
Yeah.
like that's like the shit I learned working for my dad. But it was just I had to stop because it was like it was clear it was just like he's just such a good bully.
Do you have like a favorite? You talk about bartending, and like just like being bullied in the kitchen. Kind of a slight transition. Do you have a favorite drink to make, or like something you would enjoy making a lot? Like whenever it came through,
I
you'd be like
do like making a mint julep.
mint juleps.
Because it's easy, but you can make it look pretty with the mint garnish and the way you do the shaved ice.
Yeah,
I like a Manhattan too,
that's a fun one.
because if you can get really in Manhattan or whiskey sour, anything that you can serve up is
yeah,
really
you can
nice.
just make it a little nicer.
But I also liked when I was allowed to make my own cocktails. Like I would do like prep for cocktails where I'd make simple syrups. So I made
nice.
I made this like I made these 2 old fashions. They got rejected by the bartender, but like my dad owned this bar called
Damn.
... and I wanted to pitch one called the ... head because I'm Indian and my mom's Indian and my sister's Indian.
Oh, that's so
we
funny.
call it ... because my dad's a boomer that uses ellipses. But I used to tell people at the restaurant it was because like, oh no, it's because we're dots. Like, you know, it's a racist joke.
It is a racist joke.
Because my dad has 3 Indian people in his family. Me, my mom, and my sister were all dot heads. So it's ... And it would just be like this waitress with like her eyes like wide open and just her mouth agape and like being like, "Are you serious?"
So the drinks were good. It was
and then I would be
you
like,
had to
yes.
give them all racist names.
Well, they got rejected too because the bartender that was the co-owner was like, "I designed the menu. It's cool that you're doing this, and like these are good, but like this is my rodeo.
Oh yeah.
I respect your father. He's the reason why I get to do this. He had the money for it.
You were just
but
kind
like,
of stepping on the dude's toes.
yeah, it's like it's his show. You know, he's the ring master.
That sucks.
No, it was cool though. I mean, like it got me better at like mixology. Like I would mix I did these 2 variations of old fashions that I liked. One was like I did a mango simple syrup, and I would do a mango peel doesn't really essence well. Instead of orange, I'd do a mango extract in the simple syrup.
Wow.
And then I would take a tangelo peel because it's like a sweeter, more fragrant orange. And I would do the tangelo peel in that and then add a little tangelo juice too. And it'd be like a sweeter old fashioned.
Wow.
And then for like a more bitter but balanced old fashioned.
That sounds really good. That sounds like really good.
Yeah, dude. You'll like this one though. I used to take not ginseng. I used to take green tea, like jasmine green tea, and steep it with mint and simple syrup. And it was like kind of like a riff on like an old fashioned and mint julep. But I would do that. It would be a little bit bitter than the other one. But I would turn that into simple syrup and then just kind of make kind of like a jasmine mint essence, like old fashioned. That was really good.
Damn. Now I want to try that. I really want to try both those now.
I would use Jim Beam for the Indian one, and then I use Suntory, like Toki whiskey for the Asian one.
Nice.
Which Toki is like I was telling you at the bar. Suntory only makes that for Americans.
Is that the one I had yesterday?
No, you opted for a different one.
Okay.
But Toki's fine. It's just like
Yeah.
It's not on par because it doesn't taste the same, but it's basically like if you would get Evan Williams at a bar. Like, it's a nicer whiskey, but, like, the Japanese don't even drink it. It's just, like, a more palatable, less intense whiskey. Because the Japanese,
as far as, like, well whiskey goes, I think Evan Williams is, like, the best, like, well whiskey that I've had.
But the Japanese, they do it because, like, we like bourbon here, and the Japanese don't really, like, do bourbon as much. They do scotch. Like, they copy and paste it.
Yeah, what I had yesterday I thought was more of a scotch. I had a Japanese whiskey yesterday.
Yeah. No, they're big on scotch. Like, it's funny. Like, they'll go to, like, Scotland and tour. Like, I went to Islay one time for, like, work.
Really?
With my dad, like, on a business trip. And, yeah, we, like, toured all the distilleries there. It's, like, the one vacation I've ever had with my dad. He was, like, a big, like, you're not allowed to come on these vacations. It's just funny because it's like it's all Japanese people vacationing in these like Scottish places where like everything is named in Gaelic. So it's just so many L's and everything. It's like, oh, I'm going to Ira for Brookraddy Risky. And it's just like, and like the Scottish people kind of know, and they're kind of like,
they lean into it?
Leaning into it's like, could you say the name of the whiskey there one more time for me? And it's like,
oh, yeah. You say his name one more time.
That's more Irish. I can't really do a good Scottish accent. Could you say the Brookladdy? Could you say maybe perhaps? I only do Connery. It's like, could you perhaps say the Japanese? Could you say the whiskey with all the L's in it? Do me a favor, say Lindsay Lohan for me.
We once had a coworker from South Korea, and the word squirrel.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. She struggled with squirrel.
She couldn't even like the R's would always be like swa, swoo, squat. Like she couldn't like none of the sounds she could get out.
Yeah,
it was very funny.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like, but it's like a cool cultural exchange because like the Japanese truly like mastered whiskey making from just like copying the homework answers of the Scots, but they do it to like a level that's really just impressive. They have a lot of love for it.
Well, they did the same thing with cars too.
Yeah, they love taking shit apart and figuring it out.
Yeah, they really do that very well culturally.
Yeah,
it's almost weird. Well, I guess Germans have beer. I guess. I feel like there's not really a German liquor or like liqueur, is there?
There's schnapps. It's like a sweet thing. That's actually another cocktail. I would do like.
You wouldn't think Germans be making something sweet.
They like sweet. they'll do something called like a radler, which in the summers, which is where you mix beer and lemonade, and it actually tastes very good.
Like Stiegel Radler. Oh, is that a German drink?
Yeah, it's a German thing.
Stiegel Radler.
Stiegel radler. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind. They check out. That checks out.
Yeah, no, they like I would do an espresso martini that girls would love, where like I'd do a Christmas version of espresso martini, and it would just be like peppermint schnapps and like a little bit of like crushed peppermint candy on the top.
Damn, dude, you really were chefing it up.
Dude, I learned to bartend at like a really high level.
I see. So I have a really huge.
And that's what I'm gonna do when I quit this.
Really?
When I give up on stand
comedy
up.
ends.
Yeah, when I give up on stand up, I'm like clearly just better at making drinks.
Dude, you have me watering. You barely had me laughing. No.
Yeah, this is what make the bitch pussy wet. When you talk about how you gonna chef up a custom made espresso martini for
No,
them.
I know. I really like it when people like take like jobs that don't need to be taken seriously. I think it's like actually, you know what? I think it's actually really cool.
But I think you do need to take it seriously if you're like gonna charge people as much as they charge now for like booze.
I think so too.
Like I got fired from like my job like at Bathhouse, and like part of the reason like they listed it was obviously all these fake made up things. They just didn't like my vibe there. The people I worked with directly, the owners loved me because like they're like Rogan bros.
Yeah,
And
they were probably so
like,
happy.
They think it's like cool that I like kind of do comedy.
Do you ever get like uncomfortable with that when people are like, "Do you do comedy?" and they're like,
I mean, I've done it at like a high level. I've performed in like a theater for 600 people running a half hour. I've like
that's really cool.
I've gone up at the mothership. It's all through like lies and like con artistry that like has allowed me to like circumvent the gates that like I'm blocked from entering.
So here's,
and
I can take this either in one direction. I can take this either in drink direction, or I can just you just want to talk comedy right now because I kind of want to just talk comedy right now.
That's fine. I don't care.
Let's just talk comedy. That is the lies and con artistry thing. I don't want to use that wording.
I mean, it's
but
what
I don't disagree.
You can't do it at like a Dan Ninen level where you're like sociopathically just like like flagrantly lying in ways that are like.
I would never do that.
You know, but you do have to be like a little surreptitious in your like approach to getting gigs and getting booked.
Can
like,
I
embellish credits? You know.
Can I tell you this? When I first moved here, I was in a green room at one of the clubs, and I was on the show right after, and it was like the tail end of the first show.
Yeah.
And so I was in. No, actually, you know what? It was an open mic at this club. It was the club's open mic, and I was in the green room, and there was like me and like 4 other comics, and they weren't like. It'd be different if they were like real celebrities. They were just like a little more vetted, you know.
Yeah.
They've been around Austin a little more, but whatever. And one of the comics like was kind of. You actually know this guy. I'm not gonna say his name. Was just like being a little too mean to me, and I was like I shouldn't be in the green room, and I was like I've been doing this for 8 years, you know, like I've done some nice things. And at one point, he finally gets like annoyed that I'm there, and he goes, "Oh yeah," and like the owner of the bar is there, and I actually know the owner of the club like fairly well. I think he didn't realize that, and he goes like, "Yeah, dude, like we shouldn't even have him in here." And he said that to her, and she turned and he was like, "No, actually, I like him in here." And then afterwards, like he made a comment, and I told him this. I go, "There's no hang that I'm in that my act can't live up to." Like, there's no, like, I'm not putting myself in an environment where I'm like, I should be headlining theaters. It really is. It really is.
You can never get earnest with people like that. Because they, like, I know it sounds stupid. You just have to bulldoze through, like, when people are doing things like that. Because the second you're, like, earnest and you show them that, like, it hurts your feelings, they're fucking evil. They'll just, like, use that against you. The best strategy is just, like, you point out, like, dude, you are acting like a girl right now.
You love going back to that
because it's the ultimate. It's the uppercut. It's the Hadouken. You know, there's no comeback to that. There's no
there
comeback
really isn't.
to like you're being a girl right now, and it's pissing me off. And they're like, this is all it ever turns into because there's no defense because you're like you are being a girl. Like you're like what? You can't stand that somebody's like sitting at the bar with you that you don't know. Dude, that's girl shit. If you're a guy, we can be guys, and we can just, if we don't like each other, we can just not talk to each other, sit in proximity, and in silence.
Yeah. I just remember being like, I'm good enough to be here. Like, and it was one a few times because it was a green room open mic. I remember now very specifically. It was a green room open mic, and I was like, an open mic's green room. And I remember being like...
Yeah, it's an open mic.
Like, don't you... Yeah, I was like, you don't get to gatekeep this. If it was a show and I wasn't on the show, totally different, right?
Yeah, no.
But to be like, I'm not good enough to be here, it's like, all right. Like, my act says I'm good enough to be here. That's what says I'm good enough to be here.
Yeah, where did my key go?
Like, I can perform well enough.
Oh, shit.
You know? Like, I'm consistent enough, I'm good enough to be here. Like, I don't...
Yeah.
There's times where I felt like a fraud. That is a time where I felt like the exact opposite, where I was like, am so able to hang right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sorry, I'm just like making sure. I was like having like a senior moment where I thought everything out of my pockets, like I lost them. Yeah, no,
That's
I got
okay.
it.
I would have noticed. I would have told you. Anyway, shout out to all these haters, dude.
No, dude, people act like fucking girls, and it pisses me off. And like I've like that's
I just
probably
don't
why
like
I
it.
don't have a career is because I get drunk and I just like
You'll
I'm,
tell
like,
people
mean to
off?
this- Oh yeah, but like not in a way where it's psychotic. It's just like you can't do it where you get angry.
I
You
don't
just
get
do it in a
angry.
detached way. I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying like the hypothetical you.
Yeah. The people in general.
Like it, because it's just like yeah, like unless you're like instigating it by like there's like a
Yes.
Red Bar calls it the fool's move or the fool's sip.
I don't follow Red Bar, but you introduced me to who they are, so I'll probably get into it.
He's
eventually.
he's like a D1 hater, but he rocks.
We love that. We love haters.
I learned about him through like my podcast producer and like Dan Soder.
Nice.
He's just rocks, but like it's like there's like different little fool's moves. There's things that and you know it in your head. You know consciously it's the wrong move. Like
Yeah.
say you get cut off trying to say like a tag or like a riff in a circle.
Yeah.
Don't start it over. Or if you said it and it didn't get anything, don't repeat it. That's a fool's move.
Dude, that's me.
And the fool's sip is like
I-
the full sip. I've taken a full sip even before I knew what it was. I remember it's like
Yeah.
where you take a sip of a drink to like wash down the shame almost. Like you're supposed to drink when you're like killing.
Yeah.
Like it gives you a second to just take a drink and like
Yeah.
pause. I've done it when it's just like I'm getting nothing on stage.
Ooh.
And it's like I did that early on and somebody was like, "Yo, he taking a sip of water in a 3-minute set," and that's full
Ooh.
sip.
Okay.
You have to learn from those, and you have to avoid taking the full sip.
These alpha type comedy moves.
It's not alpha type. It's just not being like a fucking loser.
it's like ways of like, especially
like,
on stage,
Don't
you gotta
be a gay loser.
put that on your fucking grave.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You
That's interesting.
can't let these hoes know that they piss you off. You can't in turn get girl brained and girl mad at people. Like there's things in this world that girl brain is like excellent for, and it serves well, like politics, acting.
Yeah.
That's why I consider women to be naturally much better like actors in film and theater than men. It takes men a lot of training just to get at the level girls can do.
I think same with dance too.
Yeah, they're just so much better at it because their skill set that they're socially engineered to have is much more suited for it. Whereas like comedies being like a loud drunk like like into a microphone.
Yeah, very obnoxious.
Yeah, like when people say like comedians are the new philosophers, I agree with them, but like in a roundabout full like horseshoe way where it's like think about what a philosopher was.
Yeah.
That was just a guy getting put to death because he kept going around Athens being like drunk, being like, "Hey, you fuck face. Hey.
Yeah, only if you actually acknowledge what philosophers
Who
were.
are you? I'm Matt. No, you're fucking nobody. Hey, what's that little boy doing over there? What's his deal? Does he got an older tutor maybe? Giving him tutelage and mentorship? What's that sexy little boy doing over there with his thighs? That's a comic.
Well, and which one was it? Like, didn't like one of them like
They all did.
one of them like would like run around like naked, like yelling in the streets sometimes.
It's probably Plato.
It may have been. I don't want to say a name because I'm going to be incorrect and people are going to get mad at me.
My money's on either Plato, Aristotle, or Socrates.
Yeah, it was one of those big three. But like they all did like crazy things. I was like, you look back at it and you're like, oh no, they did have autism back then. Where they were just like designing like really advanced machines in their head in their little
doing
sketchbooks.
Mathematics, yeah.
Just like putting together crazy numbers and being like fixated on like obscure projects. And people were like, who are these guys? And like, oh, they're just autistic savants.
Yeah, it's philosophy.
But they would always but they would always like do like weird things.
Looking
like,
at the statues with the tiny penises, being like, life is bullshit.
life is nothing.
It's nothing.
Or like being like the end like the social.
This actually means I'm so smart and intelligent because all the blood's going to my brain and not my tiny cock.
This is actually a perfect anatomy of a man.
Yeah.
But it was also like the idea of like the guy who's like such a social idiot. He was like, why? It's like, well, that's just like truly an autistic, annoying guy, you know? I don't know.
No, it's the guy that keeps going, why? Yeah, like, why? He's like, because I said so. I was like, but why you say so? It's like, yeah, that is autism.
Yeah, but they're just the first to do it, and luckily they didn't stone him. They were like, these guys are just a little socially weird.
Sorry, I got to tell a guy in a group chat he doesn't appreciate black culture.
It's all good.
You
can just say it to my face right here.
No. Different group chat, unfortunately.
I'm sorry, man. But no, yeah, truly philosophers were just autistic dudes. So if you view it as
autistic
actually
pedophiles,
what philosophers were, then comedians are right up that alley.
They're drunk autistic pedophiles.
And that's just what I want to be, baby.
Yeah, for a living.
on a professional level.
Yeah. Barstool Sports, sign me up. Give me a pod so I can take this to the big stage.
Barstool Sports should. No, they shouldn't.
I like them.
They
but
should
like,
produce stand-up comedy specials.
I think that wouldn't be a terrible idea.
It's
but
not
I
a
think just
great
because-
idea, but it's not a terrible
I
idea.
think just because, though, in like a logistical sense, like all of their guys that would really do numbers that like they have collabed with
Yeah.
already have their own production companies or go through like Rogan.
Can I tell you like the biggest like missed opportunity for Barstool that I had, like idea?
Yeah.
When I was in Chicago, they moved their headquarters to Chicago. I
Yeah,
was
they have
working,
the New York office and the Chicago office.
So I was working for Roast Battle Chicago,
Mhm.
and I was like, we should partner with Barstool and not have them roast battle, but have them judge. Like, be like, hey, you give us your personalities. We have this format that already rocks, and we'll let like just your guys judge. And they can either try to be funny or they can try to just be a serious judge. Your personality gets, because Barstool's tried so many times to break into like live entertainment.
I think that's the thing
Just
with them,
judge
though,
roast
is
battles.
that they would probably earnestly judge it because we've done that with
No,
like,
but that'd be good though. Like if we have just one serious like big personality, or like I think eventually they would catch on to like how it's
yeah,
done.
it would work. It only works though if it's one in the panel. If it's like the whole panel is just guys being like,
I think it would make it perfect. Like Barstool should be the ones to acquire Roast Battle because I think it's a perfect like the demographics that they're trying to hit would love it, and you could throw your personalities on in a way that puts very little pressure on them. And if you really wanted, you could have people like ghostwriting for them on the side jokes.
yeah.
Like it actually wouldn't be that hard, and it would just make perfect sense for them to do.
That's like part of like the tough thing about this business is that like you have these good ideas, but you just don't have like the
I know.
organic connections.
I
to, like,
had the connections at the time. It
Oh.
just I was kind of getting.
leave that shit.
No,
We're just
I'm not leaving it
talking-
in. I'm not leaving it in.
Coward.
I'm not leaving it in.
I have podcast clips. I'm like getting Biden brain so bad from like drinking. Like I've fucking clap. Trump, I'll clap your cheeks right now. Clap him on live debate. He can't even get up the stairs. He's not clapping any cheeks. The only thing that's gonna be clapping is the voters at the polls when he dies before the election happens.
That's very funny. That
You
is
know,
something he would say. and
Speaking
do.
of like not having the right connections though to like
Yeah.
make a good business idea, like I like wrote like an entire spec script for tires, but like I don't know who to give it to.
Oh,
but, like,
really?
It is like, and this sounds like a fucking like
Yeah.
delusional, insane person thing to say.
No,
but it is
'cause
better
it's
than
no-
anything they put in the show so far, and that's not
I
shitting
love
on the
that
show.
for you. I love that for you. No, you should you should just reach out, like literally just like DM and be like, "Hey, I wrote a spec script. Use it. I mean, I'm just a fan or whatever." I would literally reach out shamelessly. I'd look like through the credits of the writers, and just hit them up because I think that's kind of like. It's so weird to hear people be like, "Yeah, you just mail it into NBC," and they'd be like, "We like this. You should have a job."
Well, can I tell you the
Like
idea
in,
for
like,
the
the
spec
80s
script?
and
So it's just
90s?
on wax, just in case that does get stolen. If I
Yeah,
send
dude.
it,
Let's get it down here.
basically,
Don't do this for season 2 or 3.
don't do it for season 2 or 3, and if you do, just do a good job. I actually don't care. I don't care about
All right.
money.
What's
I'll be
the
poor
premise?
forever.
In case they do it.
Yeah, basically the premise is you started out with like it's not you don't really see it on screen, but like Steve Gerben's character Will
Yeah.
gets a DUI, and Shane
Okay.
has to start driving him to work. And like I might restructure it to make this inciting incident actually be what the episode culminates to, because it gets really busy
Yeah.
in the script and messy. But like the first 10 pages, I think are like irrefutably strong. Where like
Yeah.
okay, so Will has this DUI. Shane's like, bro, dude, you're a pussy. I saw the body cam footage, you know, and like Matt's the police officer in that show.
Yeah.
So it's like you get them laughing at the body cam footage of him being like, I just had 2 Chardonnays. And he's like getting like
Yeah,
bent
yeah.
over a cop car. It's like, you're fucking pussy. Drinking and driving is a man's sport.
Yeah.
And it's an art. And like most art, it's only cool when guys do it. So I'm going to teach you how. And he just starts crushing Bud Lights or whatever. And they drive to like Dragula down like a Pennsylvania like interstate.
Yeah.
And like they're going through a school zone, and Will's like, "All right, Shane, this is fun. We're going through a school zone." It's like, "We're going through a school zone," and then they fucking hit a kid with their car.
No.
And then they're like, "Oh, fuck," and then like they get out to check on him, and they look, and like they kind of like they're like, he's like, "Oh," and it's like, "Oh, thank God he's alive," and they're like, "Wait, what the fuck is he holding on to?" And like Shane picks up an AR-15, and they've hit a school shooter, drunk driving. And they hit the school shooter, and like Officer Max, which is Matt's character, rolls up. I was like, "Oh my God, you guys are heroes!" And they like flip it around into like a promo for tires, like for the tire shop.
Oh. Hello.
Um,
Just babies
little
running in front of
babies
the
running
camera.
around.
They could be perfect.
And
for
so that might be a funny thing to make the final incident in the show. But like
that's
I was gonna
so
have
cool.
it.
That's actually like a really funny, brilliant like concept.
And I was gonna have it lead into like they have like this they have like the freaking shooter be a sorry, I was widowy distracted by that cute baby. My oil went down 10,000.
What are we school shooters?
Widowy school shooters because they didn't get enough V-Bucks in Fortnite. They got freaking pissed and tried to mog the whole school.
What are we? You're trying to phantom tax me right now? I don't even want it.
But yeah, so like they use it as a promo, but it turns out the shooter was like a jihadist and not like a white like nationalist.
Oh no.
So like they had like Will tries to get him to lean. It's like no, it's like tires against terrorism. It's like it's a bad idea. We don't want rednecks as customers, and they get rednecks as customers. It's like trucks with like truck nuts, Punisher stickers and stuff.
Yeah.
And like they're like the worst customers in the world. It's like how do we get rid of them? We have like white liberals with Subarus posting outside, like protesting.
Yeah.
And then like a fatwa gets put on them.
Oh
like
no.
they figure out through online.
That's
and
funny.
like the guy shows up and sees like all the protesters like why are you mad at these guys because they hit the kid. It's like yeah, they're racist, and they're not just racist against Muslims, they hate women's rights. And it's like really? It's like and they hate gay people. It's like they hate gay people. It's like and all they do is shoot guns all the time. It's like they like shooting guns too. And he goes up and like that like Arab guy that's like sent to like issue basically or like not issue the fatwa but like inspect the place to see if because a fatwa is just an Islamic decree, and I would have them explain it like it sounds like convoluted but I like wrote it like in a very like concise way.
The way you're describing it sounds like a very reasonably paced episode that is so funny. There's a lot of really big turns,
but you need big turns. It's
big
TV. It's
turns.
absurd.
No, it's absurd, but it's absurd in like a very
they
like,
need the
of
absurdity.
that genre way.
But like I write I listen to the podcast all the time, so like I've written the characters to be like very true to like who they are on pod, which is what would make them stronger characters in the show. And like basically the Arab like scalps all the redneck customers, and it turns out like the guy that was doing the shooting wasn't even doing it for Islam. He was like doing it because he couldn't get pussy. So they're like, oh, Shane's not even a hero or whatever, and they just leave.
Oh, okay.
They're like, oh fuck, all of our customers are gone. It's like, yeah, but we got all those protesters in the parking lot. It's like they're not gonna want us to like fix their or work on their cars. And like Kyla's like, well, I fucking cut all the brake lines in their cars, so good luck fixing it themselves, because they're liberals. They don't know how to fix cars.
Yeah.
And so then they get the Subaru people, which are super easy to upsell because they know nothing about cars.
Yeah.
And
So
they
it
have,
just
like,
cuts to them like upselling them kind of deal where they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you should actually
like upselling to a white woman in dreadlocks and stuff.
yeah.
And that's how like the episode ends. It's like, all right, cool. Like
They're back.
there's
on.
like a moral turn. They learned their lesson of being like we shouldn't like capitalize.
That's
on,
a very full and like satisfying, very comedically strong episode. Like you take big swings to the twists and turns and they're all fun.
Yeah, but that's the episode. If you
have it
see
written?
I have the whole thing written. If you want to read it while I'm here, you can.
I've never seen Tires. I'm gonna level with you. I know the characters. I've seen like the trailer and I've seen like.
It's okay.
I've seen
You
snippets
know
of
how to
it.
do screenwriting.
I know who the characters are. Yeah, that sounds amazing. You should just send that in if you can. Try to find every way you can.
Yeah.
Just get desperate, dude.
I know that's the thing.
Get
It's like,
desperate.
I
Who
hate
cares?
that.
Like look up the writing staff if you can. If it's online, just start shooting DMs. Who gives a shit, dude?
Yeah.
What do they say? No, you're weird, and then you're like, all right, well, someone who doesn't know me thinks I'm weird. Who cares?
No, that's the
Next.
thing. It's more of just like.
And I guarantee you they're not getting like specs like that. Like in your mind, you're like, I'm sure they're getting surrounded by this. I bet they're not. If they have, there's like 3 other guys who have also done that, and yours, I'm guessing, is gonna be better than theirs.
Yeah.
Do it. Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. That's what it's all about. You want to call it an episode?
Yeah. Let's call it an episode.
Plug what you want to plug.
I am gonna be at the Stand doing The Right Side of History, which is a friend of mine's produced show in the main room at the end of July. I think it's on the 23rd or the 28th. You can check their website for tickets.
What's your social media handles?
At Wolfgang_Hunter on Instagram, at Wolfgang Hunter_comedy on TikTok. On YouTube, I'm just Wolfgang Hunter, I think. Wolfgang Hunter Comedy, maybe. It'll be like a little cartoon drawing of me with a mustache and a beanie on.
That's fun.
But, yeah, just follow me there. I put out sketches and stuff. I'm working on one right now called Booby Jail that I think people will like.
That's nice.
But other than that, continue to support our friend Matt here.
All right.
Austin Comedy's great. Been having a great time. Made a fool of myself in some instances, but that's okay.
All right.
People are too narcissistic to remember.
Amen. Peace.